Yes.
Okay, thank you. Um, I'll just share my screen, then we'll start. Um, my journey is very simple. Um, I have been a very mediocre student, and later on, after passing a lot of educational qualifications, I started working. Started working in 2000, I suppose. Um, I joined a company called ICFI, Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India. And that was to on the salary of around 7,500 rupees per month. Um, then a lot of things happened later on, a lot of changes happened. And I finally come to, say, for example, let's start with this company. I managed to join this organization, which gave me the global exposure, wherein I joined the Dubai head office. This Knowledge Horizon started in 2000, but I joined this entity in 2005. Since then, I've been associated, and in 2000, I think during 2005, they have decided to expand for expansion. So I was in the core committee for strategy for the 5 years plan for Knowledge Horizon. And somehow it happened, I don't know how, but they gave me the opportunity. They found me, identified me as one of the leaders who can go and start Indian operations. And we wanted to actually from different other operations because we have been into digital learning space. So we wanted to start content development both in English and in Arabic, because Arabic was our main market, which is Middle East. So when I joined this organization, we were just representing the whole University of Cambridge examinations, professional qualifications courses, and Warwick Business School courses in the entire Middle East. We were exclusive partner for them. So that was wonderful experience, I would say, with Cambridge. Wonderful experience. I've learned a lot in 1 year of time. And then they chose me to start the Indian operations for expansion mode for the digital learning. We wanted to enter into e-learning space. Prior to that, we were primarily into training, classroom training domain. So first I went to, I think, Jordan for a couple of months to start the Jordan operation. It was just contribution. I was not alone. But when I came to India, I was alone. I remember I went to Delhi. I identified one CA in Delhi actually, but decided to have operations in Pune. So started recruiting people from cafeteria, sitting in cafe coffee day. I think barista at that point in time. Some hotels, 3-star or 5-star hotels, lobbies and things like that. Started recruitment like that, and then started the Indian operations in Pune with a couple of 4-5 resources to start with, and then within a month we grew up a little bit. Um, that was a very inciting experience for me to start the operations, both from the technical or legal side, and then uh, I was the co-founder, and hence one of the main director was, or the chairman, the existing chairman, Dr. Man Al-Khatmin, is one of the co-founders of Knowledge Horizon India. So from entrepreneurship to intrapreneurship, wherein they allowed me to become a kind of owner also of one of the entities. So that's how I grew up. Then we started this operation, and it was offshore development center, but later on it was completely a profit center organization. So now for the last 15 years, since 2006 onwards, I've been running as a kind of completely profit center organization initially for except 2-3 years if you remove. So that's how it is. That's how the journey is. So this is like on entrepreneurship activity. I mean, complete ownership, complete. I would not say from the shareholding perspective. Yes, there is a partial shareholding with me, but from management perspective, they have given full freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. But my say is also there in the global operations across our expansions and things like that. So this was my, I mean, if you look at the whole journey, started, as you know, initial years, we were just having classroom training, and then there was distance learning program. Then we used to have not knowledge horizon, but what there was a satellite, through satellite we used to learn, and then there is a video conferencing mechanism. I think one of the universities have implemented the whole video conferencing system for training purpose. Then this is where we have been into e-learning space, digital learning space for almost now 15 years. One of the oldest, I would say, organization in India. So that's the reason I think there were a couple of more organizations in India, primarily in Pune and Mumbai side. So that's the reason, one of the reasons I wanted to start my operations where the I can find resources, right resources. So that's how I chose Pune. Then now this stays, now after COVID, as you can see, the experience is more of a blended learning approach, wherein there's a blend of both classroom and online. So this is growing up, but growing up very fast. But when I joined, when I started Indian operations, we faced a lot of hurdles in going to the companies and discussing with L&D that this is what you can implement. And the L&D heads used to be the gatekeepers, I would say. They don't want to implement e-learning, then what they will be doing and things like that. So we faced a lot of issues in the beginning because we were little ahead of time. Now, because of COVID, it is all like, everybody has to accept it. So that's how the blended approach is working fine. And this is what we used to push even at that point in time. Let us not go completely e-learning, but let us have blended approach, which is going to be very, very effective. There are a lot of concepts that you can teach through using digital learning will be fantastic rather than just having the classroom teaching thing, Now the time has come for the immersive learning. So we are moving towards immersive learning as well. So this is where we are now. So I'll just touch upon a few things today for understanding the whole audience. There are 2-3 categories of audience we have today. One is the one who have got some seed fund and they have already started their operations. The second category I can understand is those who have already those who have a lot of ideas and they have already developed their business plans and they wanted to get some fund, or maybe they wanted to start as soon as possible. And third, there are those who aspire to become entrepreneurs and things like that. So I'm just going to present some of the content based on these 3 types of category of people here. Immersive learning, I would say, because I wanted to give you some glimpse of what we have been doing, and what is the future of this part of area wherein there are a lot of futuristic technologies that you can adopt for your business purpose. But this is the area wherein wherein we are moving also very seriously, and it has a lot of scope in future, which is virtual reality, augmented reality, and the merged reality. Very often people even say mixed reality, means the combination of both virtual and augmented reality. I assume that most of you know it, but instead of explaining these things, I would like to just present some of the things that we have recently developed with some of the companies that will give you some idea about these 2 aspects of augmented and virtual reality. So this is what we have been doing with ITC. I will show you. If before that, I would like to just explain to you that there are a couple of there are gears that you have to wear. One is the gloves that you have to wear, and you have to use the ocular glass. And nowadays, even there are certain you can even wear the haptic suits that can give you some kind of senses. So basically, voice to the learning process. So, so it's a combination of even 3D modeling and then, you know, wearing these glass and actually moving your hands and things like that. So, so even senses, even you can touch and get the sense and things like that. So, so here the person is wearing a glass and then he's trying to see, this is virtual environment, actual virtual environment we have created exactly the way it is there in their environment, in their lab. A similar kind of very close to reality kind of environment we have created. Then assume that this is one of their component. We are trying to dismantle this. Once you click on that, then you can even pull up the component, small component of this particular piece of instrument, and you can see. And this is, and we have taken this video of the person who is doing this, right? So assume that you have worn this glass and the gear, and you are holding this particular machine and moving it from here and there, and then you are taking one pieces one by one and actually moving the way you want, and see how it looks, and from close realities, it's giving you very close reality of the things, how it happens. So this was the exploded view. Then you go to, say for example, the guided operations. So then you actually open a machine and see that how the guided operation works. So what are the processes that you have to follow to remove certain element, for example. Then here I'm just moving faster. So here this man is now wearing the glass and then wearing the gloves, then opening this particular. So as part of the process, he has to first open this glass, and then there are the he has to follow certain process to, yeah. So now you can see he has removed the first thing and he left it. So you give that feel of gravity that that is going down and settling it and rolling and things like that. Then you're removing. There's the second part of removing, sir. So second part is this, that you have to remove. So this is guided way of learning. Then you move to, I'm going little faster because of time constraint. Then you move to the so you have removed, say for example, each and every component one by one, and now you are going to the unguided one, wherein this will give you a score. So if you make any mistake, so it will be, it will give you kind of some kind of score. So this is unguided one. So basically you have to test his understanding of how the things that you have to, how the things you have to perform on the same thing that you have learned. So same process you have to adopt, the process you have to follow. If you make any mistake, then there will be deduction in your score. Otherwise, you can move ahead. So this is the one of the approaches of the virtual reality. Now I'll show you a glimpse of the augmented example of the augmented reality that we have worked on.
Excuse me. Slides are not.
For example, so for example, you have this, then you're using here a tablet or any phone wherein you're going to open you have a problem in one of your, the battery in one of your car. Then you call upon the person who has this understanding, and he will going to guide you from remote place. So person who is sitting in one of the offices is guiding you now. So he's guiding you like this.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, I think there is a problem with the slides. We're unable to see we are only able to see the second one. It's not moving away.
Now you can see this one, the augmented reality one.
No, sir.
Just a moment. Check. So, can I stop share and again share?
Sir, I think you will have to share the entire screen. Currently, you must be sharing only one window. You have to share the entire screen to use slideshow.
I've checked the entire screen only. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. By mistake, I have selected the first one. So now, is this now visible? Hello? Hello?
No, no, sir, it's not visible.
Not visible. Just a moment.
Yes, sir. Now it's visible.
Visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here we were, right? So here the person is actually showing there is a problem in the car. He's say for example on the main road somewhere, and then he called up the engineer is going to guide you. So you open your software and then application, and then open your camera, and then the camera will show you every parts of the need to be taken out one by one. So it will guide you how to do it. So he's remotely guiding you using augmented reality. So he is saying that do you have this particular component, do you have this one, and then follow the steps. So if you, so it is guiding you. So this is the remotely you are getting guidance from. So step by step. So I hope this will give you some idea about the augmented reality. Now, this is the kind of experience that you are getting when you are moving, you are going to a place as a visitor, and you're or instead of going to to this particular place, you are just trying to get every details. You are moving while wearing your glass, and then you get to know about the information of each and every part and things like that. So instead of visiting the actual location place, you are getting the immersive experience of the whole thing. You can move the way you move, you can move around from right to left, on top or down or whatever. You will get that kind of experience. So this is something is part of the immersive learning. Now I'll move to the next one. So so now this is going very fast. This is emerging very big market, wherein it is like teleporting similar kind of your personality somewhere else. So in mixed reality or the merged reality, you feel like you're sitting together, three or four of your colleagues together. And so for example, four of you are, because of COVID, all students are sitting at their home, but still using VR glasses. They can join and feel like they are sitting in the same lab of institution, and using the same, picking up the material and doing the laboratory experiments together, something like that. So these are the things that where it is moving ahead. This is where it is moving ahead. Like, these are some of the examples. So, but endless. The growth is endless. The way you think it can grow in a big way. Yeah, this is something which is coming up. As you know, metaverse is a buzzword nowadays. A lot of people are have started discussing about it. Wherein, yeah, means Facebook has launched and used the word meta, although this is very old concept. Wherein, as you can see, Neil Stephenson in long back in 1992 used this word metaverse. There are a lot. I'm not going to discuss much about it, but these are the people, these are the companies who are coming up with in big way in this particular field. Apple, Macrumors, Google, Screen Rant, Microsoft. Already we have worked with Microsoft HoloLens for the VR glasses for some of the organizations, one or two organizations, not many. But now they are also coming with live mesh and things like that. So they are the areas which are really emerging very fast, and you can definitely. And there are the convergence of technologies. Like for example, it is not just VR, but it's a convergence of even. I'll just take one example. We are starting another entity in UK. Already established the entity in UK, but the process are going on for rest of the year things. Wherein, what we are doing is like we are seeking content free from people to contribute. I'll take it later on maybe. So we are using even blockchain technologies with VR. We are using a lot of other technologies, convergence of many other technologies together. Like if you have seen the web revolution, it has started with 1.0, which we said it is read-only. Used to have that mail system wherein we used to interact with people in one way. We used to send mail and just read the content on screen. Through AWS and things like that. And now we are moving towards 3.0. So I would suggest those who are entrepreneurs should always think from this perspective, how best technology they can utilize, and they should get aware of themselves that the best technologies they should integrate in the system to compete with the competitive world. So they have to always be on toes and understanding these new technologies and how they can be incorporated in their own business ideas with their own business plan to compete with the emerging competition. 4.0 has not yet come, so now these are the replacements of Web 2 to Web 3. As you can see, there are many replacements coming in big way. So that's how the technology is emerging very fast, so you have to keep yourself on toes to compete, to adopt the right technologies in the right time to compete with the with the world, across the world. Now I'm just moving very fast because of the time constraint. Just remind me if I'm going after more than 15 or something. I'm not keeping check of the time. So what we are doing here is now we are actually creating, starting another entity in UK, as I was saying, wherein there will be users who is going to create the content. There will be creators who will be creating the contents. These are all free of cost. They will be creating. Then there will going to be users who will going to put the content for free, but there are a lot of advertisers who will going to pay directly to the creators, to the and the payment, the revenue source will going to be from this advertisers. So the other, for Google, there is a big threat like Brave is coming big way. For Chrome and OpenSea, if you just Google and see a lot of things learn about these things, these technologies. This is open marketplace, not like the one we have now, like Amazon and things like that. So here you can think about adopting these new technologies and starting a new enterprise, which is going to be competitive for a longer period of time. So a lot of people talk about these areas of innovation and future investment are coming big way in these areas. As you can see, big data, simulation, Internet of Things, even or cloud computing and things like that. So everybody knows about it. But here, these are the most emerging fields that are coming up in big way in technology side. And you know that technology, you cannot keep technology off from any of the enterprise or in any enterprise you are developing or working on. Any entrepreneurship plan you have, there has to be some kind of somewhere or other you're going to adopt technology. So you have to be always cautious about the changes and developments happening in this field. Now, some last but very, very important, I wanted to highlight some of the experiences that I have on entrepreneurship, and also being a part of two forums. One is in India and other in Jordan. I keep on interacting with those who are interested in coming up with startups and things like that. So based on my experience, I just tried to capture a few of the things that you have to be very, very cautious about while starting your own firm. You have to be very, very clear about, I'm sure if you have started anything, you are very confident about your products and services. So I don't have any doubt about your understanding of your products and services. But there are a lot of other things which are very, very important, but which we miss upon, is very clarity on the target market, clarity on the revenue streams, clarity on the demands and things like that. Not just based on your gut feeling, but based on certain research that you are doing. That is very, very important. Not just go by gut feeling. Do some kind of research at least to have confirmation of your idea. Otherwise, and it is bound to fail. Uh, there are certain assumptions that you take when you start the business, but you have to confirm your understanding of assumptions. Understanding competition is also very, very important. Assumptions, I would show you something very briefly that will give you some idea about assumptions. That example of assumption is like when you are taking assumptions for 5 years business plan, 2 years business plan. Okay, your assumption is that there are certain areas which you are very strong in as you're doing your SWOT analysis or any other kind of analysis. You have to be very, very clear where you stand, what assumptions on the basis of which you have started your business or started the business planning. Those are very, very important to be confirmed. Um, uh, there are many students or many basically I have seen a lot of students who started their enterprise after engineering. They are not aware about a lot of firms, incorporations, IPR related issues, domain registration procedures and things like that. But certain technical things will actually impact in long run in a big way. So you have to very, very clear which kind of incorporation that you wanted to start with. Partnership, I would never recommend very heavily on that. There are many other ways through which you can start your startup, but think about it. But learn, compare all the possible options that are available, and then decide what kind of legal entity that you wanted to form. This is very important. We make a lot of mistakes at this point in time. IPR norms. I mean, if you are really confident about your products, then you have to go for you have to be very, very clear about the IP norms, like copyrights, and also about the trademark and some other things related to IPR. Detailed business plan worksheet. This is where majority, I would say 80-90% students are not very good at. I would not say this is the whole responsibility of the student to do this, but you can take help of CAs, you can take help of accountant, but your understanding of some of the concepts is very important to ascertain, because you know you should know in and about your business. So understanding about say for example whether your worksheet whether that is covering capex or not, whether it is covering detail about all revenue projections or not, whether it is covering about the weighted average cost of capital or not, discounted cash flow, which is very, very important, people miss upon many a times, net present value, ROI, how to calculate ROI, and where we are missing upon. You create an Excel sheet wherein all the sheets, say for example, are linked to each other, and see you make certain changes and it changes across the whole sheet. That kind of Excel sheet that you have to work upon, so that you can play with your business plan and optimize it to an extent that it will be easy for you to get the investment if required, even if you don't require investment, but you get it endorsed by somebody who knows it, so that you are certain about the fact that it is going to work. So, and then there should be self-speech. Self-speech means just even one sentence. You won't get time always to discuss or details about your sales pitch. Even one page, not more than one page. So it is sometimes very, very difficult. I have seen from the students to compile their whole idea in one page. But this is certainly very, very important, that it should be very crisp and precise and to the point. And obviously detail based on the Excel sheet that you have created. You have to work on the business plan, detail, growth strategy, and things like that. Emerging technologies, as I have been saying again and again, many a time initial stages, people face problem because they hire wrong people in the organization, and that is a major problem with many people who have already started their companies. So they hire the wrong people, and hence paying a big amount to them and not getting the worth that they wanted for. Processes, very clear on the processes. You aim that you're going to have standardized process right from day one. When I started, I was always at I started simultaneously the process how to go for ISO to start with. when I started the Indian operation. So you have to very, very clear that once your processes are streamlined, you'll see in long run it will going to pay out. And promotional portfolio nowadays, all social media campaign and things like that. So I assume that most of the people are aware about it. Some of the soft skill that you have to cautiously aware of. For example, the entrepreneurs generally want to do everything themselves because that is not possible all the time. So you have to have some kind of skill of delegating some kind of work to somebody. You have to have identify right people and then delegate to the right people and have some kind of confidence in others to get it done, from them. And nowadays, without association and collaboration, is almost impossible to survive in the market. So this is something, the last thing which I wanted to say, that this is something very, very important to have to always open your eyes and ear to see how, whether these collaborations, who is going to, who is the right person or the company to collaborate with, that will add value to the whole, the bucket that you're going to offer to people across. So yeah, this is what I just want to, at the end I wanted to say this. With this I wanted to end up, and then you know, just a moment. Let me. Yeah, thank you. This is what I don't know how much time I've taken, but I don't know how worth it is.
Thank you, sir. That eliminated a very different aspect of entrepreneurship. Moving ahead, a mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within you than you see in yourself and helps bring it out of you. The next round will act as a cure to all the questions and deliberations. Today, you are free to ask questions related to the hurdles that you are facing or going to face to make your startup a success.
With that said, let's start the open house mentorship session. I would like to invite all the students for one-on-one question and answer.
So my question is, there are lot many startups having or sharing common or similar ideas with existing great companies, which is currently doing very well in their fields. So for someone who is eagerly interested in starting their own business with similar idea, so for them, what all measures should be taken by that particular newly emerging entrepreneur to tackle this strong competition smoothly?
Um, all right. Do you want me to take that, or how does this work? Is it directed to a specific person?
So it was a general question that came up onto my mind.
Okay.
So
All right. Yeah, I'll try taking that. I mean, it's. I'm sorry, I don't have a definitive answer to that. It really depends on the size of the market, right? If it is something very niche, and by niche, what I mean is it's a very small market. Maybe particular company that's producing or supplying a very particular small specific component for, say, automobiles or something, and there is a monopoly player. What you call a monopoly player is somebody who has 80% of the market, supplies to 80% of all the customers. You trying and entering there, it may not make too much sense, so it may not work. Whereas the education sector, there are dime a dozen companies who are doing very, very similar things, right? Like your online courses and your upgrades of the world. Several companies that are doing the same, and education is a large enough market where anybody can have a share of the pie. The important thing when you are entering a market where there are already one or more people who are doing very, very similar things, is to try and understand from a valuation perspective how you can fit into that ecosystem. What I mean by that is, for example, you have Byju's and Akash, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys will be aware of what Akash does, IIT coaching. Again, this is not a case where Akash entered later. Byju's is the bigger fish, but entered after Akash. But even if you are trying and eating into the same market, if one can buy you out or one can take you into their ecosystem, you can still get a very good payday at the end of the day, right? So nobody can have a definitive answer to this. If the market is very large, say education, hospitality, one of these these things, it's okay for you to come and try and do similar things, but maybe with a little bit of a difference, so that a bigger player might want to acquire you, or otherwise you can still earn a small chunk of the market and do very well. So I hope that answers your questions. If you have a follow up, I'd be happy to clarify.
No, so it's time.
But yeah,
It's clear. Yeah, it's clear. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
but it will depend on your nature of business. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you so much.
All right, you're most welcome.
Santosh sir, would you like to add something to that answer?
I'm sorry, I missed upon that. Something happened, so I missed to listen the question correctly. So I don't know.
Okay, so we
I
can
can
move to
take
the
it
next
now.
question.
Yeah. Sure.
Anupam Pandey, can you please raise a question?
Yes, sir. So my question is like I want to start a startup based on sports, like we play like outdoor sports, like connecting the various players around us, around our areas and around the India. So what is your take on that market? It is big enough so we can make a startup out of it. So what do you think, sir? And how should
Hello.
we market?
Hi, Anupam. See, if you ask me about this, I understand. I consider any product has a market, but how big the market is for any product, it all depends upon many factors. I mean, it depends upon many factors, and obviously, sports is in a very nascent stage in India in terms of from business perspective. So huge potential in and in many ways actually, not just one or two. There are many ways through which the sports as a whole sector could be monetized in different ways. So yes, it has huge potential, but the way you're going to approach it, the way you're going to prepare a kind of services or product out of it is something depends upon that how big market you're going to have in future. So this is what I believe. But in general, every product has a market, I would say. Depend upon how you're going to present it and plan it and do everything. If the planning is right, if your strategy is right, you can sell the product. How big growth you're going to have, growth of potential that market has, it all depends upon many factors.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that, Anupam, because I do have a little bit of exposure to this because apart from my core business with Gradvine, I invest in a couple of other things, and some of these are pay and play sporting arenas that I've invested in, right? So like we have a swimming pool where people can book on your app and get a slot, and we have badminton courts where people can book for three other players and sort of aggregate. And I think that's what you're asking me, right? Essentially, how can you gather a bunch of friends on an app and say, let's play a game of doubles on a badminton court with three strangers, right?
Yes.
So for your specific idea, I have a more direct answer. And again, look, my answer is not definitive. I could be wrong, but it's just my opinion. There already exists something that does very similar things. I think on the Playo app, that's what it's called. In a lot of big cities, quite popular. You can do the exact same thing where you can get people of different expertise levels in different sports, gather them and play, right? Now, in theory, there is no reason why another app which does a better job of aggregating all these people won't work. But if you're doing the same thing, I don't believe it will work, because the strength of Playo and why people use Playos, because there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands, right, who are on that platform. So they're all there for you to gather. For you to acquire the same level of customers starting off a little later may be a lot more difficult. So that's why think about that very, very critically. If you're doing very similar things and you want some sort of value to come out of the effort, you need to do it a little differently. Simple example of, say, why did Facebook take over WhatsApp, right? And why did I think Google had one of their social media platforms they launched, I forgot what it's called also, where they tried to do something similar to Facebook, but it tanked, right? If you're doing the same things, it's not going to work. In case of Facebook taking over WhatsApp, it worked because WhatsApp served a very different function, right? It aggregated the same number of people, maybe more people on one platform, but for a different purpose. So it made sense, and the payoff for WhatsApp at the end of the day was good, right? If you are trying to outcompete, an app like Playo by getting more customers and doing the same thing that they're doing, it may not be very wise. But again, I might be wrong, but this is just my opinion.
Next, Sanjana Khatri, can you ask your question?
Okay. Very good afternoon to all the mentors present here. So my question is that can we state in clear language the key features of our product or service, as there are many ways it could be copied, and also between which people and to what extent one should open up the idea initially?
Uh, which la- which language you said? I'm sorry. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Uh, can you
Uh,
repeat it, please? Sorry.
Okay, so my question was that can we state in clear language the key features of our product or service, as there are many ways
Oh.
it could be copied, and between which people and to what extent one should open the idea on initial basis?
This is very tricky question. Very nice. Let's see. This is something discussions initial. See, you have to have a plan, but discussions initial discussion. That's the reason one of the point that I mentioned was have a straightforward, very small, concise thing without giving exposure to the whole idea. If you have a small concise idea, that will not going to impact your business plan, or nobody is going to pick it up and start the business, right? So you have to very smart in designing on having that kind of small content which is shareable. So keep in mind that this will not going to impact my somebody is not going to steal the idea and start the business. So from that perspective, you can have the initial thing ready, and then you can discuss. During that process, you will find that lot of ideas that comes in that will going to help out. So many a times people don't generally discuss because and keep the idea with themselves, the basic idea with themselves. That actually is not always good, because then you get a lot of ideas from people around you, and initially people generally have the idea of discussing with those who have some kind of confidence level, those whom they think that they have confidence upon this person, so they discuss it initially, take some mentor. That's the reason there are a lot of mentors who don't steal the idea, so they'll give you some kind of input, and that will build upon your idea, and then you can move upon and have the detailed plan going forward.
Shrikar
Yes,
sir,
sir.
would you like
Thank
to
you,
add
sir.
something?
I'm sorry. Could you say that again?
Would you like to add something?
Yeah, I mean, I had the same question. In fact, a lot of times, because like I told you, my idea wasn't rocket science. It's about aggregating, people on a platform and matching them, right? And I had the same doubts and questions. Should I, even reveal my ideas? A couple of points here. You could reveal the outline of the idea, like Santosh sir mentioned. But I did not reveal my pricing model. I did not reveal how I was going to be profitable. I did not reveal how I'm going to maintain quality control to make sure that the mentorship was of the highest level. That part of it I did not mention. The idea is something that you can share. Secondarily, keep in mind that if you have an idea in your head that is so easily replicable, eventually once your idea comes into the market, somebody with deeper pockets and more money and their resources can look at your website also and completely duplicate everything that you're doing, right? So money beats first entry at this point. So even if you're doing very very similar things, somebody else who's entered the market after you, despite you having a customer base or a client base, can sort of displace you. So the fundamental question you should ask is my idea or business so easily replicable that I could be blown out of the water? If that is the case, then that will happen to you irrespective, right? So again, it's a very sort of gray area again, but it'll depend on your specific idea. But keep that in mind. If somebody can easily steal your idea, replace you, they will do that even after 6 months of your operations when customers know your idea.
Sir, can idea do some types of copyright or some type of protection, or any we have any right to protect our idea through patent or anything?
Yes, of course. This is something very important point actually that you have to always keep in mind. If you think this your idea is very unique, then you check with your some of mentors and confirm that this is really good, and then go ahead. There is a process and hire a consultant for that to then for getting it registered. Whether it is for patent, whether it is for copyright, whether it is for any other IP related things. Please hire a consultant and find not big amount of investment required. For patent, there is a process that you have to follow. For other things also, there are the processes that you have to follow. For copyright thing, not much. It's not very difficult thing. Very easy to get it done. So don't be hesitant of even exploring the options, discussing with the consultant who is going to give you some idea how to go ahead with the process, what are the things documentation required, how much time it will require for first level, second level and third level. So there are a lot of other things that he will going to give you a lot of insight into it to get it patented or get it even for copyright thing. So please, this is very important, and you have to keep in mind when you have a unique business idea or product or services, whatever you have.
Okay, thank you.
Tanish Chaturvedi.
Very good afternoon to one and all. So my question is that I have a technical based startup which works on decentralized artificial intelligence. But due to low budget, I can do either one thing out of two. That is, I can directly market my product or can increase its accuracy. So, being that tight budget, what should I prefer? Marketing or increasing the accuracy of the product?
All right. A fantastic question, right? That's a very pertinent question. If I were in your place, what I would do is to take this product that you have, not going into the technicalities, into the market a little bit. Now, the reason why I say that is because for any AI based products, there needs to be a lot of data fed into it. Secondarily, there needs to be validation from the market. What you may deem as more accurate or more useful to the customer in reality may be very different to what the customer may deem very useful or accurate to themselves, right? So if you are going to try and perfect it, over engineer it, and keep developing it without really understanding the market fit and how it's behaving when customers are actually using it, it may not be as prudent, right? Again, I don't come from a very strong AI tech background. I have a fair understanding of it, but I would definitely recommend you put it into market for a bit, see how it behaves and how it works, and then figure out how you can improve it later. Do get that little bit of market fit first. And to answer the previous question, also, I think the question about copyrights or patents. Under Indian laws, under any international IP laws, you cannot copyright or patent an idea, right? Ideas, a thought in your head cannot be copyrighted or patented. It is the method in which you execute that idea, or any proprietary tool or technology or anything almost physical that exists. Only that can be patented or whatever, right? An idea in your head cannot be protected legally. So it's the method in which you execute that idea that makes it unique. Even if you have the same idea but it's executed in different ways, those will be, you can possibly get two different patents on them from two different competitors, right? But an idea in your head cannot be protected legally. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Our third speaker on the panel just joined, Mr. Vipul Joshi, Vice President Operation at Idea 4, alumnus of London School of Business and Finance, and he is the go-to person for exports, shipping, channel development, retail management, and so on. I would like.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for late joining. I had some confusion with the link. Yeah. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. So once again, he will be joining us on the open house discussion for the further questions.
Sure, please.
So after Tanishka, I would like to call Drishti Kingrani. Please raise your question.
So good afternoon, everyone. My question is about creating a product in the market is not an easy task. Basically, the first challenge we face is to create demand in the market, and for that, channelizing is essential step. Many startups unfortunately fail to overcome this, despite of having funding too. So, how can we, as a novice in the world of entrepreneurship, can overcome these challenges? And can you also share some effective methods to reach the target audiences?
Great. Thank you, Lucy, for the question. So primarily, I think from our experiences, if I share, we've been a hardware startup from last 15 years, and it was from a testing phase to actually demonstrating the technology on the ground to finding your right key customers is a learning curve itself. When we started our journey, we looked at how product would be featuring, the testing of it. So like we make the drones, and the drones has to be tested in the most difficult environments, from your cold weathers to harsh lands and mountains as well. And these are all different topographies that you need to test your products in. So first, I think the validation of the product is very, very critical. How you get your product certified is, I think, a key aspect of how the product's trust, quality, reliability can be established. Second, I think for any product, your early adopters and finding those people who will actually get you into getting the next set of customers and what are those first early adopters would be is a critical aspect when a product needs to get launched in the market. In terms of how you market the product, there are, I think, thousands of ways of how you can market a product, but I think what is critical is you do your customer education on how the product has to be utilized. You have to define your use cases properly so that you're not just targeting anybody and everybody for launching that product. And it is critical that for any person who's using your product, that is the product usage is simplified and they don't need overtraining for usage of product and for the launch in the market. It is what problem that the product of yours will solve. That's the solution that has to be right on time, on target for it to get successful.
Thank you so much, sir, for your points. I'll keep that in mind. But thing is, I've seen that people do have really good product and they are using all the techniques which are used in the market right now. For example, social media is a very great platform for channelizing ourselves. But still, sir, there are some pitfalls which everyone faces, and that's why product can't able to get into market.
So, Drishti, I think
on a big level,
there's never one way of how a product will get successful. As I said, that if in case you're actually solutioning the product for the use case, that is where most of the people actually miss, because they are designing it for what they think in their mind is the right product for the market, not necessarily what is the right product for the user who's going to use it. And sometimes the bus is also missed in terms of taking the right feedback at the right time for how you improve your products as well. And plus, then you have a price point, you have your reach, you have your after sales support. There are a lot of social media is just platform to promote a product. It is not where the person will be using your product.
Yes, sir. So talking about my startup, it's about the recruitment process. It's what my product is about is will basically change the process of recruitments which are in this era.
Mm-hmm.
So sir, it's recruitment is something which is very essential for every company, for every person. Like job is very important. Giving job, providing job is very important.
That's enough. I think all the companies, however small or large, do struggle
Yes.
with recruitment processes. Yes.
So the product is something which has to reach out to the big market too. So sir, can you suggest me on a very initial level what should I do reach
So
out to big.
it's a recruitment portal. It's going to be a recruitment app. If you could give me a background as to what exactly is the product going to be all about?
Sir, our product is basically resume, video resume. So it's actually blooming right now. If you know, the Facebook, Google companies are in the demand of these type of product. So it's about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, see, since I think yours is more going to be a SaaS-based model where people will be using your platform to create their video resumes. So, for a SaaS-based platform, I think not much from a promoting perspective is required. But I think your initial key influences has to be the right people, the people that you get even from a promoting perspective. Who do you get attached to even those on social media platforms to use your product to get that like and give you the right feedback? It's not that the person has to be the person who is finding the job in the market, but even the initial customers have to be people within your own campus or people who are the social media influencers who can talk about your product and say that, this is a great product for you. If you're going out there searching for a job, this is the first platform to go and use.
Okay, sir, I agree, and I'll work upon that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dushi.
Would someone
Next.
else from the panel add on that? Moving on, I would like to call Harshita Gupta, and please raise your question.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So my question is, as we are beginner to build a whole new startup, it's very important to connect with more and more people. So apart from social media and on the social media, what are the steps we should follow to connect with more and more people?
Sorry, Ashita, could you please repeat your question?
Sir, my question is, so am I audible?
Yeah, Ashita, please go ahead.
Yeah. My question is, as we are all new and a beginner and novice to build a whole new startup, so our first step should be to connect with more and more people. So apart from social media, what should be the steps we should follow to connect with more and more people and reach out?
So, Harshita, if you could be specific around the reach is for what? Is it for the beta testing of your product? The reach is for getting more connects to raise funds. What's
to
the
raise
purpose of
funds
reach?
and to raise funds and to make them aware of the benefits of the idea of our startup.
Okay. Well, if in case it is more about the funding side of it, I think reaching out to the probable investors group. I mean, if it's just starting, then you have your seed funds or your angel funding. There are a lot of groups like Mumbai Angels, etc., who are out there who look for early stage startups. It is pitching to them, finding your connects within the alma maters who are probably ex students of your college who have now part of the VC funding. I think they are the first reach out people, and as well as I think showcasing your product at some of the key target market customers who are there in some of these prime exhibition shows that are related to your product or your target market. I think those are the initial people that you meet. Shrikar, you want to add something to the question?
Yeah, so one more question.
So go ahead. Sorry,
Yes.
go ahead.
No, sir, please continue.
No, I think pretty much the same. First of all, you need a defined set of answers you want, right? What are your questions? That will depend on who you're reaching out to. Of course, LinkedIn, also social media is perhaps the best platform right now. If the best thing would be to actually reach out to entrepreneurs, maybe who are in a little bit more of an advanced stage than you are. Maybe if you're looking to raise funding, reach out to somebody who's already raised that seed fund. or if you're looking to launch a proof of market into a concept, you want to test it, reach out to somebody who has done that in your immediate circles, right? Apart from that, if funding is your clear idea, and I'm assuming here that you've thought that through, everything is ready, you have your pitch deck ready, and you're very advanced in that phase, then you could look at online incubators which are giving you a lot of exposure. Something like a Y Combinator at this point in time is just a very simple, unbiased online platform where you put your idea in, and they reach out to you, you pitch, and then the funding is closed after that. But that is after I'm assuming you're sure about how much funding you want to raise, how you're going to use that funding, whether there's some sort of validation for your particular product. Only then I would recommend you go into one of these incubators and take it. But always good to speak to entrepreneurs who are maybe a little 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. They'll give you a lot more context on how you should go about it.
Yes, sir. Thanks for your advice. Sir, there's one more question. As a long-term goal with achievements, we will also have to face risk and consequences it may bring. So how do we handle it? Please, can you share your experience?
Shigi, you want to go first, or should I go?
I'll leave it to you first.
All right, thanks. Rashita, I think choosing to be an entrepreneur, I think you've already taken the path, if in case that's the path you choose. So risk is a byproduct and comes with it. And I think that's our kick, right? I mean, the reason why we all choose to be an entrepreneur is also the part of risk that comes with it, and challenges and all that. We basically want to call ourselves hustlers, like that. We all will go and find solutions for the problems that are out there. And one problem that has stick with us, and that the reason why the solution that you're providing with your startup is the adrenaline rush that you get every day when you get out, and that's the only medicine out there for the risk handling, because the pressure is tremendous, but you'll never regret being an entrepreneur for a single day, is what I can assure you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So again, couple of my co-founder and I followed very different ideologies. I was all in, right? Okay, I'll try. If it fails, it fails. But of course, I could afford to take that risk at that point. My co-founder always had an idea that he will do a side hustle, which is working on this full time. But he was also consulting with particular corporates in the past, because he had very relevant work experience in the energy sector. So he was doing a couple of about 10-12 hours of consulting a week, where he was getting a steady income. And Gradvine was taking off on the side, but it is a risk, right? There is no denying it. That's an inherent part of entrepreneurship. Fortunately for you guys, the startup situation in India has evolved so much in the last 3 or 4 years. Whether for good or bad, we don't know, but it's become a far safer space to be in than it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Also keep in mind that even if you fail, or if your idea fails, and you've done a good job at failing, like in terms of your own learning, upskilling, you built something, maybe some aspect of it was off, that's why it didn't fail. You're still gaining enough skills to either get gainful employment in another startup that's doing well. I always look for that, potentially somebody who's started something in edtech, failed, wants to come in. I'm looking for skills because they bring in real world experiences, or those experiences are also very valuable when you go into corporate in the future. You learn a lot, right? So even if you're failing, fail well, learn and fail, and you'll still be able to sort of fit into somebody else's ecosystem. If you can afford to keep taking that risk and keep trying ideas, even better. But risk is an inherent part of it. There's no denying that.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll keep that advice in your mind. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Yeah.
Next, we have Kajal Patel.
So my question is that in the very beginning of every startup, there is a lack of resources and capital. So in that scenario, what strategies one should adopt to find and convince the people who may be interested in working, and how work should be divided in starting?
So, Kajal, I'm hoping that you're talking about, other than the founding team, or you're also looking, when you're asking the question, are you also asking from a co-founder perspective as well?
Yes, sir. As from the perspective of founding a co-founder also.
Okay. So I think a few critical aspects when we all start as an entrepreneur. I think the initial team is the critical bit, because that will define of how and till what long will your startup will last. Because if you're not synergized as a team, you're not aimed at the right set of goals, and your people who are looking to cash out at the early stage is not the team that you really want to look for. So I think that those qualifying criteria are really, really important. While even a lot of startups, or I think most of the startups, started from bootstrapping capital, whatever they have saved from either their first job or some family or friends have helped in to start. Initially, what you can, or the only thing that any startup would be able to help to dole out is the ESOPs. So you basically do the equity sharing with the person who, or the people who are joining in the initial bit. Even if you're not able to or afford market salaries, the ESOP is the only bit that you can do to keep them around, because there's a promise for future. You are assigning a future value, that even if today I'm not able to give you market salaries, or even if say the person is just a co-founder, then you're both equally in the risk. And when you're mitigating that risk together, or building the startup for the future, you get in people on the promise of ESOPs, and the valuation of ESOPs obviously will grow as you grow in the startup, and as the startup grows. You need to have some de-risking factors. You need to have your co-founders agreement in place, so that you know that when the person has not really spent an X amount of time within the startup, he will have to either let go of his equity that is vested, or the vesting will only start after next certain period, or when your startup is at the next certain level. And there are other contours that has to be defined around ESOP plans, which have to be kept in mind at the initial time. Don't be hesitant about starting just because there is a lack of resources, because trust me, anybody and everybody who started never had the resource to begin the first time. And that's the challenge with, I think, every first generation entrepreneur, or anybody who wants to start on his own without anybody else's help. They all start without the requisite set of capital that is required on day one, but you build up slowly through either raising capital, you through banks or your VCs, or seed fund.
Yes, sir. I will keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For the next question, I would like to call 𝙎𝙖𝙣𝙣𝙪𝙣𝙍.
Hello, a very good afternoon to all the panel members, my fellow mates, and the professors. So, my very basic question is that for getting onto a startup, we just need a target audience. We just know what's in our mind, and we just want to target that particular audience. But there is a role of a survey, that to get out things, that what they are facing, the problems they seems to face, and we tend to solve it in our mind. But the exact idea just gets in when there is a survey. So, as of my idea, I have conducted few surveys, but I didn't got. So,
However, we lost there in a bit.
yeah, sorry. So yeah, for my product, I just conducted few of the surveys. So basically 3 or 4, but I didn't got a positive response on that. So can you suggest some things to get onto a target audience? What audience should we target? And if we target that audience, how to get a proper survey answer for that?
Shikhar, I think you are better suited to take that question.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of surveys, to be very honest, because launching a survey that does the job is incredibly tricky, right? Your questions have to be absolutely neutral and not suggestive. If your questions are suggestive, and almost but obvious, where the user or the person who's giving the answer doesn't really have the freedom of choice, then it's always going to give you an answer which is either biased positively or negatively. So I don't know how well you've designed that survey. It's not easy, right? If you ask somebody, say I'm designing a desk, right? And this desk is very unique. Just as an example, you can connect a USB port to it, you can fold it into a suitcase, and you can carry it anywhere you want. Just a wild thing, may exist, may not exist. Now if you ask a user, would you like a desk which can be folded and which you can take away, which has USB connection, which has a touchscreen table and all of that, they will say yes, right? Now whether they will actually buy it when it's in the market is a whole different issue. So how you've defined and designed that survey is going to bias your answers and your responses to a great extent. It would be more prudent to talk to people who are in that market to try and figure out whether it's going to work or not, and talk to more informed people instead of just blindly running a survey. Secondarily, this is like a lot of questions here. It will need a far more in-depth discussion about what your product is, what problem is it trying to solve, and a lot more specificity for us to tell you whether a survey is going to work or what the best way forward is. But generically, before doing a survey, you talk individually to people who are in that sector and try and find out whether it's going to work or not. That's much better than launching an ad hoc survey, or it's very easy launching a survey. You can do an Instagram story and get responses on something, and you can call it a survey too. But whether that's the right way to do it for your product, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of surveys, to be honest.
Just my question is, what is the purpose of the survey? I mean, why are you doing that survey? Is it that you're looking to get some ideas on the features?
Yeah. So basically, my product deals with startups only. So it's a product basically entering into the market, which will assist a startup with another startup. And also I am planning to collaborate various entrepreneurship clubs of different colleges on a single platform. So basically it will create ample vision opportunities for students who are looking to build something new. For example, I have ECEL IIT, ECEL IIT Bombay, ECEL IIT Kharagpur. So but there is just no link between all these except for a conversation between two of the students of that particular club member. So I am planning to get onto clubs and various undergoing or upcoming small startups who are just becoming to be one of the millionaires.
I think, Bhabe, if that's the purpose, right, and since not a lot of people would know you in person or have heard about your startup or what exactly is the product, I think a lot of personal pitching would be required of your thoughts before you can ask somebody to write the survey for you. So until the time you have done your selling to them, I don't think you'll be able to gather the right responses from any person who's sitting and doing the survey for you. So, and in my best opinion, I think it will be better that you do a user's survey through the asking question yourself rather than sending the link for them to write it for you. So you do those interviews.
I just wanted to add. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr.
I just wanted to add. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to add, Bhavya, see, marketing research is a scientific process. It is not like very simple job that anybody can write a questionnaire and design a questionnaire and start this survey. There is a lot of things that you have to keep in, if you are not capable of designing the questionnaire, whether it is for survey or whether it is for focus group discussion or whether it is for interview, whether it is telephonic or personal, or there could be a lot of different ways through which you can approach the marketing research. Now, for that, you have to keep in mind your product and then decide what could be the best approach. And for that, even if designing the question, there are a lot of things, as Shrikar rightly mentioned, even the sentence that is being used for asking question by word, if it got varied, the purpose, the whole question, the whole thing will change. The whole question, the sense of the question will change. And also the approach, the flow of the question a lot of things depend upon a lot of things, even the options that you are giving. So there are many things that you have to keep in mind. So if you're not capable enough in developing or designing the questionnaire, or planning for the market research or the proper scientific way of market research, you'll find a lot of people who can help you designing, who have come from that experience. I would not say that go and hire a consultant, not necessarily required. You'll find such resources, the people or the professors who can help you in doing that. So, but get it verified by somebody who knows how to design questionnaire or how to design the question, and for your purpose, what is the best approach, as other panel members have suggested, whether for your product it is the group discussion is required or the personal interview is required. In many cases, to start with, you can go ahead with personal interview, and that too with a framed question, because even the respondent might not be having that kind of time to give you that kind of time, and to give you that kind of qualitative response that we are looking for, and try to quantify that. And most of these questions that you're going to pose to them are in a qualitative form. If it is going to be not a database approach or the form based approach, then you should be knowing how to quantify those qualitative answers. That is also very important. So it's a scientific method. It's not like simple job for anybody to design the question and write down 5 questions and ask. So that approach will not going to work. Definitely not.
Okay, sure, sir. I'll look into it with all of my team members and so who are mostly into marketing and research analysis. So one thing I want to add, can you please share one of your best experiences in? So it will be very helpful.
We have done, I mean, if you're asking me, then there are a lot of market research that we have done for our product side of business, not for service, because service that we have been doing. The lot of, as I said, again reiterating the whole thing, that approach depends upon the product or the services that you want to sell. First, you have to very, very clearly define who is your target segment. So if you are meeting the wrong target segment, then there will be a blunder. So what in our case, we were trying to launch one product, and then we almost invested, I would say, 1 month of time in just planning the whole research process. Who would be the target segment, how will going to reach, who will going to design the questionnaire, who will going to confirm whether it is right. Before that, even questionnaire need to be tested. You cannot just roll out to everybody. It has to be tested and tweaked properly. So you have to have some sample whom you share these questions, or either you are doing interview or whatever. Then you test and confirm whether the question you are asking is correct or not, whether you are getting the right kind of result or not, whether you can do analysis or not out of the qualitative questions, whether you can quantify it or not. Those things can come only with test with some sample of people. Once you do that job, then you get the correct response. Then you see if the analysis is possible out of it. Then you go ahead, and don't go with the preconceived notion. I mean, when you started the question, I perceived that you are going with your preconceived notion that you wanted to answer what you want, and you wanted the answer from the respondent which is at your back of your mind. That should not be the case. With open heart, you trying to embrace it. Otherwise, you will not get the. I mean, you may get a lot of. We have got some very unusual thing, and you get a lot of ideas out of the negative point that you capture from the qualitative questionnaire. Qualitative means by group discussion and interview. These are open-ended questions. They are not close-ended questions. So if it is close-ended, you are giving options, then it can be quantified very easily. But if it is open-ended, somebody is speaking few sentences, then you should be knowing how to quantify it. So you have to do a lot of exercise to identify what the answer, what the actual answer from the qualitative question you are posed to many people, and then try to assimilate and come up with the conclusion that this is what they are trying to say. Together. I think this is what I can tell you at this point in time. Explaining the whole process is very difficult now, as per what we have.
Next,
Sure,
we
sir.
have Rishiba Jain. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. With all due respect, Shrikar sir, as you have mentioned before that your idea was not a rocket science, my question is, what matters more, the idea of the startup or the skills to manage its drawback? Please share experience about the same.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part. Is it the idea more important or the skills to what?
Manage its drawback, like the
Mhm.
things you face during the startup.
Oh, I see. Again, based on my experience, I think it's the execution that is very, very important. And this draws back to a lot of the other questions where people asked also, what if somebody steals my idea, right? People can steal ideas, but they cannot steal excellence in execution, right? If you have, strong, operational protocols, pillars in the service business at least, and you are maintaining that level of quality across, all your associates and all the information that you're disseminating, that is something that is doesn't seem like a very difficult thing to do, but it is. But it's also very, very difficult to replicate. So if you ask me, then the excellence of execution is incredibly important, right? Small example. Again, I could be wrong because of my limited, knowledge of tech. But if you look at, Swiggy versus some of the other food delivery apps that started earlier, there were other food delivery apps. There was Food Panda, there were the others, right? The idea was inherently the same. The way they executed it was different. The app was different. It was perhaps more seamless. Perhaps people liked, seeing where your delivery person is at that point in time. Right? It's that seamless execution and the operational team that backs all of that that ensures the success of one company over the other. So if you ask me, the execution is paramount, far more important. Second thing, every single idea will have a drawback, right? You cannot come in and start a business which is foolproof. There is something that can go wrong. You will know what could go wrong in the future also. How are you going to mitigate it is important. Now, with my particular platform, if I put the mentor and student in touch, there could always be a case where they say, hey, you pay me 6,000, 7,000 rupees less. Why should they take their platform fee? I will mentor you directly. You would send me an email personally. I had 5, 6 people come and tell me this, that, hey, if you start this is what will happen. People will start doing their own engagements outside. Your company will fail. But we had mitigating resources. We took the payment first. We tweaked our processes to make sure that the linking happens only after the payment is done. You have to think logically. There are my own mentors who went out and started the similar company that I do right now, right, at a much smaller scale. But that's a part of it. Any company you do, that's going to happen. Should that prevent you from starting? I don't think so. You should have ways to mitigate it, essentially.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Just to add, Srikar, actually, you know what? I have come across majority of the people who come up with ideas, and they don't have the expertise, and do even if they have expertise, they don't work hard on the process of the planning and then execution. I have a friend of mine who is excellent in coming up with a lot of ideas almost every month, I would say. And some of them are, extraordinarily amazing. Sometimes I feel like, why don't we start something like that? But idea is not enough at all. Execution, you have to burn your hand. You have to work hard towards execution. Once you do that, you will find a lot of things. Execution, I would not say you start the business. Even there is a process of planning before even execution. During that process, once you start, you will learn a lot many things out of, it may happen that the whole idea may emerge into a different idea altogether after 2 months of time once you start the process. and that could be better than the one with less riskier than what you have started in the beginning. So many of the people come up with ideas, but they don't have this thing to start start the process. There is the problem. What I see with a lot of people. So don't just keep in mind. There are a lot of processes. There's a journey. It is not you start and then everything you'll start getting money second day. There's nothing happening like that.
My only tip is that do read through the 2% mindset. That will give you the clarity of what happens.
Yeah, and just to add, with regards to execution and parts of an idea, I kid you not, back in 2012, why I keep coming back to the Swiggy example, I had a friend of mine, again, brilliant guy, with ideas, he's working in the US right now, came up to me and said, what if, we had one platform that does only delivery but doesn't make food? People going in bikes and delivering it. And, I absolutely trashed it, saying, I mean, Domino's hai na, like, what are you talking about? He said, no, any restaurant. I said, all restaurants can't have their own delivery boys. He said, I will buy 100 people bikes and then, I'll make them deliver food. And then we were calculating the margins and we said, this is ridiculous. You're never going to recoup the, amount of money that is going to be invested on bikes without the simple thought in our head that people own their own bikes and we could perhaps incentivize that, right? So again, execution, the idea is not just, I will deliver food. How are you going to deliver food? Right. So it needs to complement it, right? Again, if you have a unique way of executing it, absolutely give it a shot. Again, with startups also, if you talk to 10 people, 8 people are going to tell you you're going to fail. It's up to you to figure out how convinced you are with the idea and how unique it is. If I listen to all those people, I wouldn't have started anything. But also it's very important to not be very thick-headed about it. Be open to critical feedback at all times.
Varsha, do you have a follow-up question regarding this?
Yes, sir, I have a question. First of all, a very good afternoon to the respected panel. As it is our first step in the business world, how can we understand the demand and need of the market so that we can make any of the startup successful? I was audible, sir. Was my question audible to you?
Yes, Varsha, we could hear it. Shrikar, I thought you were going for it.
Oh, no, I was waiting for you to go ahead. I think I've taken enough time.
Okay. Yeah. So, I think Varsha, again, a very generic question as to how do you gauge a market demand, etc., without knowing what exactly is the product and, where you go and look for the right users for your product, whether you do your beta testing in bit market, how do you, whether you, it is from if it's a physical product, is it a app, is it a SaaS based or a DaaS based model? There's a lot of information that is required before you can comment as to what is the right market set and which where to go for and fetch your demand and how to supply that demand.
Yes, sir. That was my question. That suppose if I'm starting to do any startup, suppose app development I wanted to do, I want to do. But sir, if I don't know what is the requirement of the market, means which type of app they want from my side. So, sir, how can I understand these demands of the people that what they want from my side?
So, Varsha, I think that till you not know what problem are you solving or which particular gap in the current market segment that you are going to solve, you're just right now then just throwing stone in the air because you have to have an idea as to which is something which is close to your heart, something that is you are keen to solve, or something which is, if in case, because see, I was speaking to some other student as well. We're also talking about it's a risky business. I mean, there will be challenges on a daily basis. But if in case your heart and you're solely not sold behind that particular idea, you're not going to last in that particular business for too long. So till the time you know that what niche or which particular problem are you going to solve through your startup, till then, you just can't keep hopping around as to right now looks like this is the demand. I mean, you could say that EV right now is a demand. Tomorrow you would want to say that the booking those EV through an app, but I mean, all those Olas and Ubers are doing the same. You would say Zepto today is doing the remarkable job, and you want to do the same. But it was their idea, it was their baby, it was their thought process, it was absolutely something that they wanted to change the world with, and that is something which you have to do your soul searching for, that as to what exactly is yet you want to do that would make a difference, and you would leave no stone unturned, as was rightly pointed out by Shikar, that we all can get ideas, hundreds of ideas on a daily basis, but till we actually hop on the bandwagon, you'll not realize what is the market asking for, whether the first version or the version one that you thought of will actually give you the right results, or you'll have to keep iterating to reach to the right audience, to the market that actually will accept the product or the idea that you were talking about.
Yes, sir, I understand your point there. Thank you so much for guiding me. Thank you, sir.
Next, we have Sujal Agarwal.
Good afternoon, everyone present over here. Sir, this question is very basic and yet fundamental. Sir, how and from where do we find customers and creators? Sir, our basic idea is to connect graphic designers and consumers. So I don't know where do I find them, and whom should I arrange first?
I'm not sure if I quite got the question. Shikhar, did you pick it up?
Yeah, I think it's an idea where he connects graphic designers with people who need maybe freelance graphic designing of some sort, and
Yes, sir.
who he gathers first, like a chicken and egg problem. Do you get your graphic designers first? Do you get the demand first? And a tricky question.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right.
It's like you find your customer first, or you build the product first. So, see, I'm not sure if there's any right answer to those problem statements, especially when there's an aggregating platform which is trying to bring both the people together. So, how would you convince a graphic designer to be part of the platform till you have a right set of customers waiting in line, and you can't keep holding a customer also till you have figured out. But I think if you're just starting and it's an early stage, it's good to have at least few people who are ready to give that service through your platform. What exactly are their service? Because you need to list out their credentials on your platform. What exactly are the capabilities? What are their past history? Because you see, and the world is using all the psychological hacks of somebody have already used their services, etc., to really believe that this person can actually do my job well. And from that perspective, I think before you really get the first customer in or a few customers in, it'll be at least good to have some base of who will be your designers in place. But where do you go and find them? I think I don't have the right answers for that.
I can just add one point here. There are a couple of ways you can try out. One is you can have some kind of assessment of the market need by reaching out, not I would say to individual. If it is B2C, then there is a problem. If it is B2B and you're trying to give some kind of services to B2B market, business to business market, then you can have some understanding of their requirements, of some long-term kind of requirements that keep on coming, which are recurring kind of requirements. And then at the same time, you understand the kind of skill sets required at your end to have the graphic designers, the one you want. There are a couple of approaches to hire graphic designers. One, if you wanted in bulk, then you can directly go to the training institutions, good training institutions, I would say, where the proper training is being done. You have your own selection process to assess their skill sets as per the requirement of the clients that you have already identified. Then at one hand you have the kind of people who are in groups or in good numbers that you can recruit. You can have a kind of association with them to start with, maybe on internship to start with, maybe, or maybe you can even interact with these institutions to train them technically on specific kind of skill sets. You have your shortlisting pattern of the processes very clearly established. Then you identify, assess, and then, because they are all new freshers, they can be ready for the kind of approach, kind of options that you're giving in terms of offering and things like that. And then you can start the service. This is how you can start with, but there could be multiple ways later on. You'll find a lot of consultant nowadays, graphic designers who work on freelance basis. You can attract them and things like that. So this is what I wanted to add.
Yes, sir. I was thinking of starting myself as a developer, graphic developer, as a freelancer. So, is it useful to learn graphic designing for my freelancing work?
I'm not getting it. Can you again repeat it?
Sir, I am thinking to learn graphic designing for my work as a freelancer. So, is it useful, or should I assess and identify some other freelancers?
So you can be one. If you are starting this as a platform, you should have your, that insight about what the role of what all capabilities that a graphic designer should have. If you keep on adding your value to your own skill, that will going to benefit you in long term anyways. And then it will be easy for even you to assess others. So obviously you can keep on developing your skill set, because then you know about the whole insight about the skill sets required for the people. You understand the requirement of the client also well, if you have your own expertise in place, so that you can add value in your own skill set. You can keep on learning, because that is also, as I said, the lot of levels of learning. There are a lot of things that you can learn as a graphic designer, not just simple designing used to be earlier, only Adobe based Photoshop and InDesign. Now it goes to a big, more like 3D and all Unity based modeling and things like that, applications. So yes, you can. There's the huge scope for learning, so you can keep on updating your skill sets at one end, and then it will be easy add value for your own recruitment, identifying the right resources for you as your team going ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So before we go any further, I would like to request Santosha, please, can you turn on your camera for a team message?
That is not working, Yash. I have tried to open it, but that is not working. I don't know what happened, but that's not working. I'll have to again log off and log in. Probably that I can check, but that's not working.
Okay, so we can see a picture of you. It will work for the SS. Team members, can you please turn on your camera? I think this is done. Moving to the next question. Manu, are you in the meet?
Sir, good evening, all the mentors. I just want to know which we would use as a learner so we become good entrepreneur in the upcoming future. Am I audible, sir?
Your voice was breaking. I'm not sure if I got the question.
Sir, I just want to know which we would recommend as a learner so we could become entrepreneur in the upcoming future.
Hey, so sorry to interrupt. I had a hard stop at 5 p.m. So I'm going to have to, drop off from the call. I think we've extended that by a little bit, but it was lovely, interacting with you all. And I'd love to come back in future if you had any specific questions. So sorry, I'm going to have to drop off, but I'm just going to have to hop on to another meeting at this point. It was lovely speaking with you guys.
Thank you, sir, for joining in.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Most welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Santosh, if you pick up the question, I'm not sure if I'm getting the voice clearly.
Even I couldn't hear him clearly, so I just wanted to understand again if you can.
Yes, sir. Sir, it is audible.
Yeah, please try once.
Hello. Good evening, sir. It is audible.
Yes.
Sir, I think, sir, we would recommend as a learner, so we could try to a big entrepreneur in future.
The main point is missing. I don't know. There's something. The sound is.
Malu, you can drop your question in the chat box, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, sir.
Okay, until then, we can move to the next speaker and we can come back to him. Tanya Singhal, please
Yes,
ask
sir.
a question.
Good evening, sir. Glad to have an opportunity to interact with you all. So I just want to ask that as we are seeing in today's scenario, that India is very much dependent on electronic accessories on China, like especially for the mobile phones we are using. So why India is not taking a step forward in this particular area, or if I want to start or take an initiative in this, so how can I start it? Like, what should I do? Like some research part or anything?
So I think, Tanya, there are a lot of things that not just India. I think the whole world is dependent on China today because of some of the key factors that they have been really doing in this world. Especially mobile manufacturing and all move to China. Mostly because of the cost of production and the scale that those companies could provide in the country. India has been now chosen as a hub to get the manufacturing done. We have been the back end support for the mobile world, so to say. Are even you if you actually go around and see, there's lot of designing work also which happens in India today. So that's one of the starting points as to what kind of design and prototyping that can happen in India. Plus, I think the recent development that the government has taken in terms of the semiconductor development in India is which I see as a first step or the right step towards getting these capabilities within India. What all in terms of you can at a starting level of for mobile phone, as I said, that there are fairly large manufacturers today who are manufacturing it for all across. I mean, so you don't really if you really bring in the differentiating factor, I think the differentiating factor can be about the feature set, which is again going to be loaded or based on your Android or Apple. And second is about the usability, the ergonomics of the the handsets. If you really want to start something there, and I think that's where the innovation or I would say the patentability of an idea would be there, where you design it a little different way than just anybody else who's designing any handset, where everything is dependent on how less loaded the OS will be on the mobile phone and not necessarily look and feel, because everybody right now seems to be innovating just on the camera side. But if you want to invest your thought process and before where you want to start in the mobile division, it would be more on the ergonomics of how the mobile handsets future would look like, whether there will be any mobile handsets that we'll be working with, or you will have everything which is wearable. That's a presumable future of how mobile communication would be taking from here.
Sure, sir. I'll keep your points in mind. Thank you.
So for the last question of this query round, we have Dhruv Bagora.
Good evening, sir. So on behalf, my question is for Vipul Joshi, sir. We want to set up the drone manufacturing in our college's innovation cell. Sir, can you suggest some ideas regarding the initial budget which institute should prepare? Also, what items, services, and capitals would be required for the same?
Right. Thank you, Dhruv, for the question. Firstly, what's the purpose of the drone manufacturing that you want to set up? Is it for students to practice or build the drones themselves? Is it just a research activity that they're going to do? What's the thought process there?
Sir, basically it is for the research purpose, as well as the students are preparing drones for their final year project, so they can be getting a better revenue with the help of the college innovation cell. So that's why we want to set up a separate department for the following.
Okay.
So that it can boost their, it can help in their projects.
So, guessing that the space is already there in the campus. Other than that, it's not a very heavy manufacturing or a heavy machinery-based manufacturing setup that you need for developing drones. I'm guessing the initial capital of even few lakhs, roughly about 4-5 lakhs, also should do to you to get your basic equipment from your torque controlled screwdrivers to your soldering machines to your other basic equipment required for battery testing, etc. I don't think it is a very heavy capital required manufacturing setup that you need if it's just purely from a research perspective. Other than that, there'll be a specific use case or idea based investment that you might have to do, because just building a drone with in a quadcopter configuration or a fixed wing configuration is the most simplest thing. But what else would a particular student's idea around what does it want to do with that quadcopter or a fixed wing drone, that would change of how much investment that particular student might ask. So I would say, rather than doing a complete investment upfront, it will be great to keep aside about 5-10 lakhs rupees just for student to ask you for their specific projects as to what exactly do they want to deliver. Because a lot of days people not just want to invest in the hardware side, but they actually want to develop the software feature of the drones, which actually does the vision-based analysis, or people are keen on developing algorithms for agri, which I see as the keenness in a lot of other colleges where I have spoken.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll surely work on it.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for this interaction and the opportunity to speak to all of you. It was really great.
That was a very enlightening session. This would have definitely helped students to understand how to tackle any hurdle that they are facing in their startup and get them started.
Indeed, Unnati. This was a wonderful event, and now we are nearing its end. But before we go, I have some few exciting news for you all. We at ESL know that the coding and competition culture are the heart at the college. And to fuel the coding culture in our university, ESL brings to you ENCODE, our very own coding contest in association with none other than Code Chef. For more details, you can refer our ESL social media handles.
And not only this, we all know that ESL conducted offline recruitments this year and more than 200 students showed up. Results for the same will be shared on our Instagram handle.
With that said, now I would like to call upon Dr. Shashi Prakash sir, the convener of IIC DAVV and faculty coordinator of ESL IT DAVV, for the vote of thanks.
Yeah. Good evening, Santosh sir and Vipul sir and Shrikar sir too. Actually, I too have a question from Vipul sir. Is he here? Oh no, is Vipul sir here? Vipulji is here? Not here. Oh, it's sad. I thought it's for the first time I'm hearing from the students that they are interested in doing something hardware, and that too on a public platform. I would have liked to actually add on to it rather than making these drones. We have right across the road. We have in Soyabin Research Center. We do some kind of research activity for them. So there is always the application part is also very you can say interesting, and is challenging also. So we'll talk to him later on separately also. Actually, all the three speakers, I convey my gratefulness from the core of my heart. They came over and spared their time, spared their energy to share their passion. That this shows the passion also in them, that how much they wish to encourage the startup activity, entrepreneurship culture in India, a kind of patriotism I consider it. Then we have it surely it was for all of us it is a more, you can say, learning experience, but for the speakers, especially Santosh sir is here, they might have felt bit tired also by now. So in face of all these kind of, you can say, difficulty, a kind of difficulty they are here. I'm grateful. I'm thankful to all the student members also on behalf of ESL who have come over and attended this, and especially the team of Gaurav, Unnati, and so many other students, Saurabh, who have then Aditya Makwe sir, Shailendra, Ashish Panchal, all of you. Oh yeah. Vipul sir, I wish to, I have a question. Not audible actually. You're not audible.
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying sorry. I thought session is over, so I dropped out, and I said thank you for the evening.
No. Yeah. No, I too have a question actually.
Sure, Mr. Shashi, please.
No, what the thing is, we are a premier college of Indore, among, you can say, first two colleges in the Madhya Pradesh. Devi University is rated among the best university in MP. Right across the
well aware, sir. My wife is an ex-student of yours.
Oh, great.
She is the MBA tourism from your college.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's it's great news. Very nice. Actually, more so over, the thing is, most of our students are interested in software most of times. And here I see they are interested in something hardware related. So I am enthused. And another point is, right across the college, we have Soyabin Research Center. The other day, we have a research project with them. Mm-hmm. We kind of image processing kind of thing we do, and they wanted me to have a kind of application, you can say. They are able to scan through the field, and then based on that, they can see which areas are getting, say, water is not proper or something like that kind of thing.
Right.
So I find drone applications could be numerous in all that, in so many areas, not in agri, in so many other things. So I want, So I wish, and this amount you told, maybe around 5-10 lakhs is almost very less. So
that's why I said that, sir, Shashi, sir, that basically, what will depend as to what use case you're putting an investment around. So if in case you look after, say that, okay, and I left the room for the last adjustments because the multispectral payload, which will actually help you do the agri planning with a drone, itself will cost you some $5,000. So that's like just the raw sensor. Apart from that, if you build the payload on top of it, you'll again invest roughly about $100-200 on top of that to finally make a payload out of it, which actually will give you the data that you need from agriculture research perspective. And that's the reason why, when the whole question was about how much do we invest from an early stage perspective, I left the room for the extra budget where students pick a particular project or a particular use case and then invest for it rather than saying that, the whole lab gets created where you have investment in thermal cameras, you have investment in multispectral cameras, you have investment into different shape and size of quads, where you also would want to go and invest into spraying capacities. That's a very large investment. But if you actually pick and choose the specific areas where students really want to invest their time and bring out the right solution, where it will be a fruitful investment from a college perspective as well. That's why I didn't want an early investment more than just about 4-5 lakhs, because there's hundreds of things that you can do. There are hundreds of payloads that you can make for a drone. As I said that, from a nuclear pandemic perspective as well, there are sensors that now you can put on drone where you don't have to send a human to get exposed to any nuclear leaks as well. To you go do night surveillances, to you go and do pipe monitoring, which is long asset monitoring, or you do your inspection of fixed assets. These are all some of the use cases that are getting developed now. They haven't really picked up from a business standpoint, but these are all the baselines where the drone usage will become. It's like every household usage, if I have to call it that way.
Yeah. From that point of view, what I have seen a spark now, the students themselves are saying that they want to build it. So I like your help. Later on, I will contact you later also.
Sure.
So that students are able to, when they are, you can say, they are thinking in terms of, you can say, they are getting inspired by drone. So why not we use it?
Rightly so, because I think the government of India recently has made it enough into news of what is happening around drones, especially the drone policy is getting eased out, and different schemes being launched to promote this as an industry. As well as now, if you see the coal and mining ministry, as well as the agriculture ministry, they all talking about how drone can be used on a day-to-day basis, and actually encouraging their own ministries to figure out solutions of how drone can be inducted into their solutioning, which is, I think, a great platform, because all these years since we started, it's been 15 years. We haven't seen the times that are today of how drones is being talked about, or how drones applications are being talked about.
Yeah. So in the similar spirit, what we always believe, I always believe, start from a small point and then scale it up. So maybe the initial, what you said is 4, 5, 10, something like that, and then we plan out and discuss with you also. Might be there. Are there some kind of, you can say, some engineering college or someone in touch with you regarding this, that helping them in some way with kind of some curriculum?
So we aren't directly associated with any engineering college, but I mean, we are doing some work in IIT Bombay, so their research park as well. But not really funding any particular project as such. But, on and off, we have been giving mentorship to certain ideas as well. But on a regular association perspective, we don't have an association today with any of the particular college.
No, just with this discussion in my mind, now which had been there, it's in my mind, how can I inspire my students more, and we realize some kind of lab kind of activity over here. So in this context, I might be in touch with you. So might be requiring some kind of help, in a sense that it is a way path, ideas. How should we go about it?
We'll discuss separately, sir.
Yeah. That surely will be. It will be, you can say, best culmination of this this kind of session, drone session. It's DRONA. I say it drone now. Like a drone kind of discussion later on. So thanks a lot to you, Santosh sir and Shrikar sir. Very nice evening. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I like to just add, this eCell also started like this kind of some activity we had, and out of that only this eCell started maybe 2-3 years back. We started with it, and now it's managing things bringing so much of knowledge to us teachers also. So thanks to our students and you people also. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. It was a pleasure interacting with all of you.
Yeah, I shall be in touch with you. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Once again, thank you to the entire speaker panel and faculty members for joining us and starting their journey with us, sharing their journey with us. And thank you for all the students for turning in, and we will see you in the next event.
Okay.
I would like to announce something on behalf of myself. We are having our very own technical club very soon, and the start of it is going to be the ENCODE coding competition, which we have hosted in collaboration with CodeChef. So please stay tuned to our social media handles. You will receive the notification right after the event. One more thing, the first year and second year has been waiting for so long has been the ESAL recruitment results, and we are going to launch that this evening itself. So stay tuned to social media, be highly alerted, because you are going to get so much insightful information today itself. All right, then. Bye everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.